Hey guys, quick video here on developing a calculang model and visualization and interaction using this template, calcy-quarty-vizy-template, that is available on my GitLab, gitlab.com/declan. So there are instructions down here and some notes that I think are useful for developers. And we're going to get started. So I'm going to make the model really simple. Mostly I just want to show how this works in this video. So let's open up our editor and see what's in the template, but we also need to npm install dependencies. And so where we will write our calculang model is in main.calculang.js in the models folder, and we need to get those numbers out, get some numbers out for our model and make a visual. We're going to define that in some visuals, Quarto Markdown here, and we have some scripts set up to help us. So compilation scripts for the calculang model, one with memoization and one without memoization, and a preview script for the website that this template generates. So Quarto generates a website, and Quarto, including observable JavaScript, gives us enormous flexibility to get interesting outputs as we're developing a model. And so this is a placeholder model and visual that's there right now, and I will change very soon. And we also have a developer tools page that will work on your model. I can give you some information about the formulae and the inputs that they require, and some internal stuff as well. You can dig through that. Okay, our model is going to be a shop model. We need to define our inputs as usual with calculang right now. I have some snippets in this template also that you'll see me using. So we'll have a purchase price, a sales price, fixed expenses, and units. Units, fixed expenses. We'll define some formulae now, which will be sales is units times sales price. Purchases is units times purchase price, and finally profit is sales minus purchases minus fixed expenses. Okay, let's format that. Compile it without memoization. There's no recursiveness, there's no need for memoization in this simple model. That takes a moment to compile. We need to look at the visuals page, and we're going to need to refactor this for what we want to visualize out of this model. So we're certainly going to need to provide values for all of these inputs. Just to get an answer out right now, let's provide all fixed values, and let's make a visual with results for these three formulae on the y-axis, and just the result for some inputs as values alongside that. So I need to refactor what's here, and it was more complicated than I need, so I want formulae to be mapped to the Y channel of my visual. Delete this, and I don't want anything on the x-axis. And I'm going to define values for each input here. So suppose we have a sales price of 6, a purchase price of 5, units, these need to be underscore in, units of 20,000 and fixed expenses of 20,000. Save this. The preview, Quarto preview, is refreshing things as we save things. And we have color there. I want a different color for every formula. And we can see the answer already is zero profit, which makes sense. We got one margin, 20,000 units, but that 20,000 margin is needed for the expenses. Our profit is zero. And let's say legend false, because I don't want the color legend. And so that's giving us results for the model for fixed inputs. Now this is a bit more flexible than that, so we can suppose we're not sure what our level of sales will be. So we can create a slider to interact with different levels of sales, or we can just output multiple levels of sales here. We could look at a line chart for different levels of sales. Let's do all of them. And so x-axis, let's put units. We no longer need this. Units. This is an array of values that we're interested in, and I'm going to say underscore.range, which returns an array. I'm going to say a range going from 10,000 to 30,000 in steps of 5,000. We're still looking at a table. Okay, maybe better if we increase the width. Another thing that we can do is change the format dot comma dot 2f. No, 0f. We don't need decimal places, and this is this goes to D3 format, so you can learn about what different settings you can put in the text format. Okay, so we get our comma separators, and that's a reasonable looking table showing us multiple scenarios out of the model. Let's do our line chart. No, let's suppose we want to interact with different values of sales price. So we no longer want to pass in a straight 6. We want to pass in a slider. So we're using observable JS inputs.range, a slider between 5 and 7. Okay, and options. We're going to say steps of 20 cent. Label sales price and the default value of 6. So we don't expect the table to change. But we can suppose higher sell, higher profit. Okay. And the other thing I mentioned was making a line chart. Let's just copy this. So mark, in this case, is line. Text no longer makes sense, but we want the value for the Y channel of our line chart. This is no longer needed. And That's our line chart. And I think we should give this more space. And it's not a table anymore, so we can go with more values. It's not going to give us any more information, everything's linear, but just to show you we're getting more results here in our line chart than we have in our table. And so we can also have a look at dev tools. This is only looking at this. It's going to show us information about the model, so the different formulas and inputs that are needed for each formula. So profit depends on everything, but sales depends on sales price, doesn't depend on purchase price. And that's derived from this graph that you can also see here, and you can also see the JavaScript that the calculang compiler generates. So this is what we write, this is what JavaScript, this is what the compiler generates.